I guess it's more seasonal than anything. Like towards the winter, it gets really, really hard in the winter. As far as like it's cold, it gets bitter. If it rains, like there's no real shelter, at least not where you can sit very long. I don't know, the cops are, yeah, the cops never really liked us, the homeless crowd too much. They always saw us just as biggest troublemakers. 'Cause, we're always out there on the street, always bothering people. Then they kind of blamed us, I think, for the lack of tourism. People wanted to stop coming because there's homeless people.
The way they are treated on the streets would be the equivalent of describing it as going to the San Diego Wild African Park, where you get in your car and you go around and all the wild animals are around. Every once in a while you throw some food and you watch from a distance. And that's the way they were feeling.
It's not the most glorious lifestyle. It's actually one of the hardest ways you can live in America still to this day.
Since we started this ministry, foreclosures have probably doubled the homeless in our city and in our county.
You don't know whether your place to sleep at night is going to be stumbled upon in the middle of the night. I remember in the river bottom, I had people fall on my tent, people come in the middle of the night talking to themselves, delusional, brandishing knives. There's a guy for a while was walking around with a shotgun, shooting at stuff at random.
I've been down to the river bottom a couple times. There's people being beat to death down there for their possessions, stabbed, murdered, buried. It's sick.
We were living together, we were working, and we slipped up and we lost our place. And it was the first time in my life that I had ever hit such a bottom so low.
We came here with tired of broken, being up there on the street. I had never held a sign, to ask for money.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing that. And I was sweating out there. I didn't know why but I was so humiliated that I had to do that.
Like, for instance, if you're trying to get a job, you need to look professional, and it's really hard when you're like living in your car, which I was, and just sleeping there overnight, and you're just like, what do I do? And you're also worried about how you're gonna get food. Like, you're worried about these things that I don't think we really think about like day to day.
I'm an educated person. This isn't all about labor jobs and being poor and being drug addicted. As a matter of fact, I like to look at homelessness in general, not as homelessness, but to look at it from the point of view as, we're people. People have problems. We're not perfect. We make bad decisions.
These are real people with real stories. Their stories aren't stories of laziness and drunkenness because they just want to check out. Well, there's some of those, but it's a very, very small percent. I would venture to say less than 15% fall into that category. 80 to 85% are people that have tragic backgrounds. Life that has kicked them completely to the curb, where everybody has given up on them.
There's a guy here. They nicknamed him Sticks because he played the drums. His name was James. I loved him, and he's gone because he was homeless. He slept on the beach and he died on the beach. He froze to death because he had no place to live.
And if we're not about reaching the least of the lost, then we're really not about simply Jesus. We're about a selective Jesus when it comes to the lost. Nothing will change a congregation more. Nothing will impact them more than seeing a life so dysfunctional come to Jesus, so broken. It not only is a miraculous thing to read, it's a miraculous thing to let touch your life.
If people would only allow themselves to get involved and show the kind of love that Jesus wanted to show to people when he walked as a man here on this earth. And when that happens, amazing things happen.
Operation Embrace is a daytime walk-in center. That model has been created, and we're praying for churches that feel called to become rescue missions. In other words, set up a daytime center, walk-in center for homeless to be fed during the day, to provide showers and a laundry facility, to have not only a food pantry but a clothing pantry, to maybe have the church be used as an address where they can physically just get their mail.
You know, people that were in the river bottom, now they have jobs, now they have a place to stay, and so that's what we see here in this ministry.
A lot of our volunteers are actually guests here. So they're in helping, and some of the people start crying when you let them come in to wash dishes or help you cook, because they say, I always wanted to help in here. And so that's a really beautiful thing that comes out of this.
This is one of the biggest single opportunities, I believe, untapped opportunities in the church in every local community. It is a game changer in terms of making the church relevant to the entire city. Not just relevant to a neighbor, but relevant to the entire city, which is, in this country, what we're struggling with. The church isn't relevant because it's not tackling some of the biggest issues in the city. Any city that has a homeless population, has a poor and needy, is a huge candidate for churches to unite and rally together to address those needs.